Welcome to Review News Imperialism Edition. The 110th year anniversary of the October Manifesto is coming up. Let's take a look at the events leading up to and following the manifesto. After the First Sino-Japanese War ended in 1895, Japan and China created a peace treaty over ownership of Korea. However, the Russians also controlled part of South Manchuria, which is a part of North China, also wanted control of Korea. Both Manchuria and Korea provided advantages for the Navy and for maritime trade, so both countries wanted it. After several failed negotiations, Japan realized that Russia was just stalling for time so that they could bring military reinforcements to take Korea. Japan decided to declare war on Russia. After the Japanese attacked Port Arthur by surprise in 1904, the Russians bravely fought back, and by fought back, I mean they got steamrolled in every battle since. With help from the British, the Japanese won every fight. Russia's strategy was to delay battles, to create large armies and overtake the Japanese, but got pretty much annihilated. In 1905, Japan pursued the Russian Navy and almost completely destroyed them. Both countries decided to take up President Theodore Roosevelt's offer to make peace and sign the Treaty of Portsmouth. Japan obtained Port Arthur and the South Manchurian Railroad, while Russia had to leave South Manchuria and surrender it back to China. Japan later annexed Korea, while Russia's Tsar Nicholas II suffered a hit to his credibility and an economic downfall. This led to him issuing the October Manifest, a precursor to the First Russian Empire's constitution, providing a successful, albeit brief, complacency within the country. Japan also suffered the backlash from the rather restrictive peace terms with Russia. Their annexation of Korea eventually led to war, creating tension in Korea-Japanese relationships to this day. Both Asia and the West were shocked by this war. It marked the first time in history a non-European country had managed to defeat a European country. This shattered the idea that the West were the best, and Asian countries got self-confidence to try to defeat European world powers and spread.
The Empire of Japan didn't just defeat Russia in its conquest for territory, they also tried to take over the world's most populous country with over 500 million people in its borders at the time. The antagonism between the two neighbors has existed for nearly 1,500 years, though it never was severe until the Mongols tried to invade Japan in 1274 AD. What is commonly referred to as Japanese imperialism was the Sino-Japanese Wars. For China, we'll be focusing on the Second Sino-Japanese War. This was a smaller portion of World War II. It began on July 7th of 1937 between the fledgling government of China and the Empire of Japan. Chinese warlords controlled most of the country as the federal government has no control. In 1926, the Chinese Nationalist Party began the Northern Expedition military campaign to eradicate the local warlords, some of which were aligned with Japan. The situation worsened when the expedition reached Jingnan, where they attacked Japanese citizens. In response, the Japanese army fired shells into the city, killing Nationalist Party soldiers and civilians alike. All in all, between 2,000 and 10,000 civilians were killed. A decade later, in the midst of a Chinese Civil War, the Japanese Empire took advantage of the chaos and invaded Manchuria in September of 1931. Japan was and still is a small country with a lot of people living within its borders. The Japanese Empire needed a steady supply of food, natural resources, and human labor to keep it all coming at a steady rate, which they found in Manchuria. In addition to the human labor, they also could use the region as a buffer between it and the Soviet Union.
That's as bad as using developing nations for cheap labor. Thank God we live in a civilized nation where stuff like that doesn't happen. Cut.
That was so bad.
That's okay. We can edit and cut and paste what we need to paste.